Greetings, Barcadians, and welcome to another episode of Gaming News Weekly, your weekly gaming news show where we cover off three main topical happenings in the games industry and then go on to list off a short stream of everything else we couldn't feature in the main. With your hosts, as ever, me, Tabs, my good friend, channel buddy, Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hello! Hope everyone's doing all right.
Indeed. Happy 2022. So yeah, we always talk about what we've been playing in the week just gone past, so we'll come to that shortly. But as a reminder to those new to this show, we launch every week Friday at 5 p.m. UK time. Please give us a like just to help to support the channel and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications if you really enjoy what we're doing. So mate, you want to kick us off? What have you been playing this last week? I'm trying to think if you told... Oh, I know what you've been playing, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So I think mentioned last week we were doing some farming. Tabs was joining. That seems to have waned now. It's difficult to get time together, and I'm not sure Tabs is wanting to find the time to play either, to be fair. But yeah, I've been playing that, moving the farm on. It's going well. Yeah, just really enjoying it. Doing a little bit of diversifying at the moment on it into a different type of revenue stream, so that's cool. So yeah, that's pretty much me. Just a little. I actually haven't played that much this week because I think every night so far this week we've had something on, so it's been challenging in that respect. But yeah, enjoying it, still enjoying it. So yeah, hopefully that'll continue. I'm guessing that'll probably carry on until maybe we see Horizon, but we'll have to see. What about you, Tabs? What have you been playing?
We did talk about Monster Hunter Rise on the PC as a potential contender. Got to feel that out because it's a big time commitment. But I've been playing, mate, again, just a bit of Inscription. I've lost count of how many hours I'm in now. Still want to get this kind of challenge survival mode completed, which was the mod at the end of the game that was released recently. And then I'll be happy to kind of put that one aside. It might just naturally fade away, as sometimes games do when new ones come to the fore. But yeah, tonight is the Call of Duty night when I touch base with a friend up north. We might get a chance to start this new game, which I've just downloaded from PlayStation Plus. Forget what it's called now. It's got Galactic, I think, in the title. It's like an FPS mining game. Okay. I don't know much more than that, but I know it's reviewed quite well and has its own fan base. So I'll let you know next week if we do get around to it. What were you going to say?
What's your... So obviously, say you complete Inscription. What's your next game to pick up aside from your multiplayer endeavours?
To be honest with you, I'm not even... I'd love to try Halo Infinite. I'd love to try Psychonauts 2. We know Rye, friend of the channel, is kind of in that groove as we speak. They're big ones on the backlist, but do I feel like I've got the time, and can I really afford right now to be, buying that sort of those many games? Probably not. I think, like you say, I really probably need to wait until February, which we know is going to be a big month for games.
Absolutely.
I'll save myself for that.
I am, and I think I told you this week when I saw you, I am worried about how big Horizon is going to be and how many hours we're going to need to put into it. That's already a worry, and it's not even come out yet. So
hopefully not 500.
Yeah, more on that shortly. And on that, should we take us on?
Indeed, let's set sail into the news. So the first story this week reads, PlayStation History Breakthrough. So this comes from Comic Book, and this is what they have to say. A new PlayStation patent suggests the PS5 and possibly the PS4 are finally getting PS3, PS2, and PS1 backward compatibility. Unlike the Xbox Series X, which plays many Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, the PS5 only plays PS4 games and, of course, PS5 games as well. It isn't backward compatible with PS3, PS2, or PS1 games. The unique architecture of the PS3 gives Sony an excuse when it comes to the third generation PlayStation console, but it's unclear why the PS2 and PS1 are excluded. That said, it sounds like much of this, if not all, may finally remedy itself, fingers crossed. So this new patent from Sony Interactive Entertainment has surfaced online. And who's behind the patent? Mark Cerny, the mastermind behind PlayStation hardware. And what is the patent for? Well, it's titled Backward Compatibility Through Use of Spoof Clock and Fine Grain Frequency. In short, PlayStation is working on backward compatibility tech, presumably to unlock legacy PlayStation consoles on the PS5 and maybe the PS4. The article goes on to say, though, that there's nothing about the patent that suggests it has anything to do with enabling backward compatibility support for PS3 games, PS2 games, or PS1 games. But that's, of course, where everyone's mind immediately goes to. And the unfortunate reality is Sony constantly files for patents, many of which never graduate beyond the conceptual stage. And over the years, a wide range of tantalizing PlayStation patents have surfaced online, and nothing has ever come of them. So, words of warning there. Just thought this was an interesting one in a kind of a dry news in the games industry. So, but no, we talked previously about what would be a killer kind of proposition for Sony to compete with Microsoft to really, make the most of their legacy content and their previous laurels, if you like. So it'd be absolutely outstanding if we could get, resurrect a large number of their PlayStation classics, and not just in their old form, but maybe, bump up the frame rates, resolution with the new technology. I think that would go a long way to really distinguishing PlayStation. And if they could, bundle that in with some sort of Game Pass competitor, which there may be another news article alluding to that one. It would re-establish them, I think, as the forefront of what seems to be becoming a trend in the industry, service models as a means to top up revenue streams and, keep these big companies growing more and more. But what do you make of it all, mate?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think if this is true and we're going to see backwards compatibility, amazing. What that leads to is probably the bigger question. Does that lead to, I can put a PS1 disc in the PlayStation? Should you have a PlayStation 5 that has a disc tray? I think probably not. Does it open up a back catalogue of games that we can then purchase, or, as you say, offer on potentially a sort of Game Pass type model? I think that's the most likely thing, because ultimately it's in essence potentially engineering an additional revenue stream, which is a great source of income, I'm sure, because I don't know about you, Tabs, but there's lots of games I'd like to revisit, from old, and especially if they're going to work well. I was going to
ask, what would be at the top of your list? Give us.
Yeah, I don't know. What would be at the top of my list? Maybe Gran Turismo 3, maybe A-Spec, for a bit of nostalgia. I don't know. There's so many good games. It's hard to say. Maybe the original Metal Gear Solid. Maybe. What about you? What about you?
Yeah, I can think of a lot of PS1 era games and MGS, for example, Final Fantasy VIII. Although I've kind of replayed that in remasters since. Like even old ones like Syndicate, Tenchu Stealth Assassins. I can definitely pick a lot from the PlayStation era. I think after that maybe it gets a bit harder, but just like it's nice to revisit, especially those moments usually early on in games, in new hardware, when it, the impact of the wow, next gen. So things like Time Splitters, I remember being a big one, like wow. And Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah. Even that might be nice to revisit. So,
you quite like Vagrant Story, don't you? So that might be one you would revisit. I know you were previously playing it on, must have been a PlayStation 3? Yeah,
and then I got it on the PSP. You bought it me.
Yeah.
For the backwards compatibility, and then I got it recently on the PSP. But I'd love to play it, on a big screen again. Lovely resolution, frame rate kicked up, smooth,
brilliant.
Yeah, but we can only hope.
This is it, but it's interesting because I'm guessing this will create quite a buzz. Whether this is going to be become a thing, whether this is just them patented in something, but absolutely they will have seen from the buzz this has created, people want backwards compatibility. So hopefully, even if they're not doing this, the industry has signalled what they want. So that would be obviously a really good thing moving forward. So
great shout. And obviously we're obscure gaming news channel, but it's this sort of thing, isn't it? You've got to get talking about it. You've got to get that feedback out there to say, Sony, this is what we want. Hopefully we'll see that ripple across all the outlets and publications. But mate, story number 2, you're on.
Absolutely. And it sort of links into what I was saying at the start when we were talking about what games we've been playing. But this is Dying Light 2 controversy. And The Guardian had this to say. On Saturday evening, video game publisher Techland proudly tweeted that if players hoped to fully complete its forthcoming apocalyptic adventure Dying Light 2, they would need around 500 hours, almost as long as it would take you to walk from Warsaw to Madrid. The message immediately provoked a storm of controversy. Many respondents were critical, complaining that there wasn't a chance they'd be able to find enough for such a challenge. Writer Andy Kelly summed it up by tweeting, "How not to market a game to anyone over 30 years old." Very true. For players with demanding jobs, family and other interests, such as renovating a house, the prospect of having to put aside 500 hours to finish a game about slaughtering zombies seemed too exhausting to contemplate. Other commentators saw it as a symbol of unhealthy games industry practices in which developers burn themselves out through years of crunch to deliver gigantic games, setting impossibly high targets only for the game to fall short, requiring months of bug chasing. Easily the most toxic and damaging way to the market and set expectations for video games, tweeted Luke Plunkett of gamesite Kotaku. Well done to everyone involved. Techland immediately clarified its original post. Note, it's about 100% completion rate, the company explained, giving an estimate of 80 to 100 hours for most players to finish the main story and all side quests. But by then, the 500 hour figure had stuck. Wow. So yeah, I mean, the most colossal misstep in the history of ever, I would say. I would say more than ever we value our time, more than ever. And time is certainly precious, I don't have any kids and time is certainly precious to me. So I can imagine, with bustling households and finding time to play games, I'm guessing is even harder. So I find that just so out of touch that they would be suggesting that people are going to put 500 hours in. That's got to be like the 1% that could afford to do that in terms of people who have got that amount of time. I mean, what do you make of this, Tabs? It seems bonkers.
I think it's a little bit of a storm in a teacup. Like you say, they're colossal mistakes. If you look at, say, Cyberpunk 2077 versus this,
yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. But no, I absolutely agree. They've not thought too hard about these sorts of comments. They obviously wanted to say it as a brag, as like we've made a really deep and challenging game, and there's lots of content for everybody, which there's certainly an audience out there who love their big open world experiences, and
absolutely,
they don't mind it taking up tons of their time. But yeah, we also live in reality and with plenty of responsibilities, and this it put me off. Straight away hearing it, I thought, oh my God, that sounds like a bloated experience if I've ever heard one. I know Assassin's Creed, was it Valhalla, the recent one, got a lot of criticism for potential bloating, and I think Ubisoft generally get a bit of a shots fired on that one from critics. So yeah, not great. I really hope though that if this has a good experience within it, this hasn't been a death nail on its sales, because it'd be a shame to see it overlooked just because some kind of bod out there has put his foot in his mouth essentially. And they do at least try and clean it up. 80 to 100 hours, it's still a long playing time for a game these days. And like you said, mate, we've got so much on our horizon. God, I'm genius. I didn't even mean that. It's just can't even factor in. Dying Light 2, it's a bit more of a off the mainstream experience. No offense to them, but it's not something I would, it's necessarily on my radar too much. So this is just like, I'd prefer it to be a smaller experience if I was going to kind of chance it and give it a go. But enough rambling. What are you going to say?
I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it? I guess ultimately it sparks a further dialogue of how we want our games. Like for instance, Breath of the Wild. I can imagine there's some people who have played that game and weren't as immersed in the world as, say, me and you were, where we spent maybe over 100 hours, maybe over 120, 30 hours playing it and just absolutely immersed in the world. There'll be people that have played that and done 30 hours on it. But I don't like the idea of, but to do the main story and the side quest, it's getting on to 100 hours. That just seems wrong. I feel like a game should be almost a choice of how long you want it to play. Like for instance, if it's a game where you're grinding, an RPG where there's elements of, enjoying the grind, and you can put more time into it, and that changes that experience for you, then I like that. But I also don't want to see episodic games where a game's really 100 hours, but they're releasing it in 20-hour chunks or whatever, for us to then go, oh yeah, well this is The Last of Us Part 2.25, 2.5. It's difficult. I don't know where that balance is now. It's difficult.
We've talked a lot about on the channel, we don't like exploitative games experiences. Start to lean into trying to make you live on a service so they can just try and extort more and more money out of you in whatever way and form that they can monetize. And whilst this isn't explicitly saying that, yeah, it just wasn't a good way to lead a marketing campaign for it, was it? If there's people out there who love it enough, like me and you did with Breath of the Wild, but we've both put 250 plus hours in, like my missus has with Animal Crossing, that has gone to 500 hours plus, but over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Great, but we don't want, there's going to be completionists out there who are going to have to set aside 500 hours in their schedule to get this one done, and that's just not healthy. But we're going to pass on that game, mate. See what I did there?
I like it.
Story number 3 reads, Sony preparing Game Pass competitor. I don't know why I overpronounced competitor, but I did. And this article comes from VentureBeat, and this is what they had to say. Gamers in the United Kingdom will no longer have the option to buy a subscription to PlayStation Now at UK retailers. By Friday, January the 21st, retailers in the country will have to pull PS Now cards from their shelves. This is according to messaging that is going out to stores like Game this week. Here's how the message from Game leadership reads. Stores have until the close of day Wednesday the 19th of January to remove all point of sale and ESD, don't know what that stands for, cards from all customer-facing areas and update their digital bays in line with this week's upcoming commercial update. PlayStation Now is Sony's cloud streaming game subscription service. It hosts hundreds of games, but it currently stands apart from Sony's other gaming subscription, PlayStation Plus. But a recent report out of Bloomberg claims that Sony has plans to merge PS Now into PS Plus. The idea would be to make everything PS Plus while offering different tiers. To move to end PS Now subscription cards is potentially a step on the path to that eventual merging. While PlayStation is known for its powerful gaming hardware and massive blockbuster games, it has slightly shifted to a service model that is bringing in record revenue and profits. Player spending on live service games and subscriptions has enabled Sony to even offset the costly business of launching the PlayStation 5. The company normally lost huge amounts of money during years when releasing new PlayStations, but it reported a record operating profit of $3.2 billion during its last fiscal year. May have also been influenced by the fact they can't make enough at the minute, though. That should continue to grow thanks to the success of the PlayStation, but it can supercharge and stabilize that growth through the power of its services. So yeah, I mean, just from the layman view, I think it's a good idea to streamline their kind of service propositions to make it more easily digestible, looking in, because certainly I find PS Now and PS Plus as it stands, all of it confusing and couldn't even really explain to you what they are off the top of my head, I don't think. And obviously, bring it in line with your competition, who I think it's safe to say Xbox are kicking ass in terms of their Game Pass proposition, what it offers, the value it provides, and the kind of the niche they've found in the market for that. So good move by Sony if they are looking to do this. This is obviously the first step, or one of the first steps, so we don't know when this is going to come into fruition. Mate, I'm running out of road. So what do you make of this? I
mean, staggering that they've got operating profits of $3.2 billion. That's absolutely staggering, considering they launched a console and had a pandemic and all sorts. So incredible. But yeah, I think this is a natural step, isn't it? As you've just alluded to there, the PlayStation offering is a little confusing. Like what's on what? The PlayStation Plus, I actually quite like that offering. You get some free games every month. You get ability to play with your friends. I think it's very other things you get with that. But it would be nice to have a more streamlined, this is the offering. If you pay in this much, you also get this. If it's this much, you only get this. It would be much simplified. And I think we knew at some point they were going to be bringing something to to sort of stop the rot with this runaway train that is Game Pass, which is just an incredible offering from Xbox that, I think everyone can get behind. So, interesting, sort of. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I guess that's all we can do.
Funnily enough, mate, I think it would be perfect for me at the minute. We've talked about investment in games and time. Whereas if you've got this library at your fingertips, like Game Pass, of decent tier games as well, not just kind of like shovelware and, indies or something, but like you've got AAA titles on there, you could easily, it doesn't cost anything, therefore, well, sort of, to just go, I'm going to give this to go. Yeah. It's not like that initial 60, 70 quid investment. Yeah. You can just give it a try. If it catches on, well, you carry on playing it. And then if it doesn't, well, you give it up there. That would be, for me at this moment, a really good proposition. So personally, I hope we see it.
Because on that, we already pay into the PlayStation Plus every month, which I think is like $6.99. If they came and said, well, it's $11.99, but you basically have the whole catalogue of PlayStation Now, you'd go, yeah, cool, that's great. Because you can just, it's £5 a month. What's that? You've basically pretty much all year, of additional cost on your subscription would be buying you a £70 game. So, I think that would offer real good value for money for people like you who are looking for something to dob in and out of, but also, me where I'm like, oh, I'll try that. I'm not sure whether I like that. It's great. It's really good.
Because Plus is just a lottery at the minute, isn't it? It's like, oh, is there something good on this month? Exactly. Or is it? It's not for me.
Exactly.
But, mate, let's finish off this week with everything else, as we always do. I'll kick us off. Sony first-party studio Firesprite is reportedly now working on the Twisted Metal reboot, and I think they're hiring the director from, is it Motorstorm?
Yes.
Which we loved.
Absolutely. So yeah, excited. We're excited about that but we liked Motorstorm and we also liked Twisted Metal, so those two things together could be amazing. Next up, GTA 6 could release in 2023, according to analysts. I think it's extremely unlikely, but I put it in there.
Yeah, from what we hear in development hell-wise, that seems ambitious, but, be nice. Call of Duty Vanguard and Spider-Man Miles Morales take top PS5 digital sales spots for 2021.
Take-Two makes biggest ever game acquisition with, wait for it, $12.7 billion purchase of Zynga? Zynga?
I don't know. Yeah.
I have no idea.
What do they do, mate? I don't even know. Do they own a group? Are they a bit like...
Yeah, I'm thinking probably they are, but I couldn't tell you what.
Right.
Actually, are they the people that make loads of like mobile games? Like
really?
Like Apple and Google Play. I just in the back of my head, I think maybe that is the case. I don't know.
They must have some worth at 12.7 bill.
Well, I'm guessing if they're one of those, if there's one of those, then obviously they'll have loads and loads of titles out there. So probably just a cash cow. But yeah, I don't know.
PS5 State of Play. Oh, I should say, Backcadians, let us know in the comments if you know. put us right. PS5 State of Play rumoured for February and could feature Hogwarts Legacy. We're both excited about that as hardcore HP fans.
I think there's rumours out there at the moment that it could be an entire PlayStation State of Play on the Hogwarts Legacy. So we'll wait to see on that one. I don't know. It may be a showcase event. We'll have to see. Just rumours.
That shows confidence in the IP then, which is even more exciting.
But we'll wait. Obviously, it may not be. But and then finally this week, Horizon Forbidden West will feature better side quests than the original, so something to look forward to.
I can believe that. Everything looks better about that game than the original, and that's no criticism. The original was decent.
Yeah, it's basically like the original, but juiced, isn't it, Tabs?
Absolutely. So anyway, thank you for joining us this week, Baarcadians, if indeed you did. And we're here, same time, 5 p.m. UK time next week with everything else we could scrape the barrel in the games industry, hopefully a bit more going on. You've already liked, you've already subscribed, you've already rang the bell, so I won't bore you with that one. But Rich, I think that's it for this week. Another one for the archives.
Stamped and completed.